Constantino,
¿Qué huele?
pound for pound.
Little Giant Boxing.
Bernard, real quick, I want to get your thoughts on, obviously, Errol Spence activating his rematch clause against Terence Crawford. What's your thoughts on this?
He has the right to do that. I think that exercising it is showing the world, in spite of the beautiful artwork that Crawford displayed, you have to look at what was set up prior to that, which everybody's hearing. He's going to exercise it. I'm not surprised. I think because of the outcome, people are surprised that Spence is going to go forward with the rematch. I don't see anything wrong with that. Whether he win, whether he lose, I think he's exercising what he negotiated for. It's part of the deal. Any business person, any business-minded person will understand that.
What's your thoughts on a lot of fighters coming out and saying, you know what, Spence is not the same. He hasn't been the same since the crash. Do you agree with that, or you're stuck in the middle? What do you think?
Well, I'll go by when people say things after the fact, like in sports analysts, they call it Monday morning quarterback.
Right.
If I heard a little bit of that beforehand, I would buy into 100%, but I'll just look at it as an excuse for people saying why they won't buy it or why they are not interested as they were the first time, because they already seen the first act. And that is basically giving Spence no chance amongst some boxing experts and fans. And let me tell you, again, Crawford put on a clinic, put on a masterpiece, A+ and some. You can't really blame people for having an IQ of saying, hold up, I seen that, I'm done.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see it no more.
Right.
That type of done. And I think you're gonna have that all the way up to when that happens.
Crawford calling out the winner of Canelo Charlo, but specifically Canelo saying, like, let's rumble at 168, I'll move up 3 weight classes.
Records are set, accomplished, made, whatever title you want to put on it, based on starting or setting that historic moment in that person, man or female, life of sports. I set the record with Tarver, going from 60 to 68. Some would say, as I was being interviewed 2 days ago in Philadelphia, Comcast, sports entertainment in Philadelphia. Matter of fact, I'm being in the Hall of Fame of all the sports in Philadelphia, not just boxing.
Congratulations, you deserve it.
Yes, at Live Casino in Philadelphia. People just want to see good fights in 2024, coming up next year, 2025 and 2026. They just want to see good fights. I can sit up here and talk about certain things in Canelo. I can talk about certain things in the Charlo, but I know for a fact that whoever comes to the table / the ring with their strategy and then some when it comes to who fight their fight the best. What do you mean, B-Hop? Or the alien? Or the executioner? Depending on who interviewing me, you're going to say one of those characters, right?
Right.
I think both of those characters are Hall of Famers, all three.
Right.
But back to what I said earlier. If Canelo use his mind to put pressure for Jamal, right?
Jermell.
Jermell, not to, I keep Jermell. To fight, to prove something. If Jermell fight to prove something, it won't be a good night for him.
He said he wants to prove he's great.
But if he put on a show, a fight that shows that he belong, these are the steps in 12-round fights that you got to have different chapters for this fight. Any other fight, I wouldn't speak like this. But this particular fight, this type of matchup, not only the bigger guy, but the bigger, fresh, still can fight, still has all the accolades that he had 4 or 5 years ago. If he comes to his fight wanting to be brave and tough, Canelo's going to accommodate him very well. Look who everybody else to fight for him. Look at all other styles. In spite of Jamal has a different fight and skill set than the last 2 years of Canelo's fights that he had. My opinion. This here is really the one going to test whether Canelo is declining or like wine, it gets better in time. This fight will prove that one way or the other. For Canelo, it will.
How do you see it play out?
Whoever bring the best strategy and use it and be effective with it wins. That's how I look at this fight. And normally, and the surprises that happen, 9 out of 10, I know who's gonna win the fight when it gets to like the 9th round.
Right. So you've been there many times.
See, I don't go wait till like seriously, I gotta wait till if I go to 12, I do gotta wait. But my thinking, and I know that anything can happen at any second, minute, or round in a fight. It gets to the 9th round. I don't care if it's a super fight, in the middle of a super fight, or a preliminary fight. When it gets to a certain round, if it's 4 rounds, I need to see 2, and I know who's actually going to win. I'm right more than I'm wrong when I test myself. I don't do it out loud all the time, unless I'm next to someone that has that same mentality and they want to challenge whether who's right and wrong. Let's play it. But I'll know by the 8th or 9th round. I'm gonna even go back around. By the 8th or 9th round, I will know who actually going to win that fight.
The monster, what do you think about it? Naoya Inoue.
Say what?
The monster, Naoya Inoue, what do you think about it?
If I have to give you a number, 1 to 10?
Yeah.
7.
Solid.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has work to do.
Everybody in boxing that boxes had work to do. I don't care who you are and what position you're in. There's always a room to improve yourself. Because once you lose that mentality, for most of us, can't speak for everybody, you're dead in the water. It's a matter of time.
Lastly, I'd be crazy if I didn't ask you. September 11th just happened. You had that fight with Tito. I mean, what's the biggest takeaway from that night?
The biggest takeaway from the 29th, rescheduling from September 15th because of 9/11, New York City. I laid it out for you, right? So I'm gonna lay it out to the fans again for the second time. But the answer to your question, I'm gonna lay out. Crawford had a blueprint on how to systematically, whether he watched the fight or not, but we know the world seen the fight in boxing, and they definitely seen it as we get closer year by year to the celebration of heroes and great people that I didn't know and most people didn't know it or knew are perishing in the towers in New York City. But there was a blueprint set September 29th in New York City 20 plus years ago. And I just seen it in some way, some fashion. I just seen it laid out, played out 20 plus years later when Crawford fought Spence. Nobody gave him a chance. I even doubted and wondered as it got close to the fight, based on the mental of what can happen, what not can happen, and I even switched in different conversations with different people because I got kind of stuck as it got close to the fight, and I said, man, I think Spence have a chance based on being active. I went with the physical active, want to prove something. Had some fights under his belt, even though the accidents from I guess his 2 car accidents, definitely one that could have took his life. So I'm adding all these factors. Why do he got to fight? And then Crawford, been politically set on a pond for those multiple months and could have had multiple fights in between then. I'm being pulled back, but he proved, and I'm gonna go back again. They never gave me a shot. They never gave me a chance. Then when they gave me something, they thought that I was gonna be used to elevate another guy's career, which happened to be and still is great, named Felix Tito Trinidad. They said, now we're gonna give you what you wanted, but not expecting me to win. That was the game change. So to me, I looked at it as personal, but I also looked at it as, with this man going in the ring with, how can you go against a guy who's thinking like that, who has a track record and can fight and get up for that type of backlash? Too small, haven't been active, having other problems, promotional or whatever. D-hop all over again when it comes to the setup on adversity. Nothing got to do with skills. Nothing had to do with the lack of this or that. But that, only certain fighters know about that, or we be talking about a whole bunch of them, which we don't. To go through that, even some of the writers was like, he's good, but he ain't capitalizing. Time is clicking. Father Time is undefeated. Come on, he heard everything.
All right, thank you, B. How I gotta let you go.